村の者は弱った海賊どもから全ての食料と水を奪い取り、
海賊王になるのは俺だ
！What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Project Manga Podcast. I'm your host,
What up, y'all? It's Mugiwara no Kiko.
Yes, and of course, you know, it's the enigmatic underboss of Impel Down, Noxie.
And the long-haired Sabo Nickums.
Hey, and this is something a little different that we're doing, but it is deserved since this is obviously the 1000th chapter of One Piece. So, with that said, we would just seriously like to do something special for the 1000th chapter of One Piece in appreciation of, you know, all that it has done for all of us and everybody else out there, and you know, sit here and marvel at the greatness that is One Piece. Yeah. And we'll also talk about the, you know, the current chapter. So, before we get into things, go ahead and take a peek at the description below when you get the time. Down there, you'll find links to, you know, online communities that we have. You know, you can follow us on Twitter, check out our Discord community. And find us on audio platforms that you like to listen to podcasts on, as well as support us through our online store and our Patreon. Yeah. So, what's up, boys? How you guys feeling?
1,000!
1,000. There's a comma.
1,000.
There's a comma in the number now. That's
For real.
wild, bro. I remember when.
Yeah, that is.
I remember when Chapter 700 came out, and it was like this big ass deal, bro. Like in Punk Hazard, you know what I mean? And now we are in fucking Wano for the 1000th 300 chapters later.
And 2 weeks from now, it'll be 1001. That's
so weird.
That's fucking nuts, bro.
Yeah.
Yeah, you feel something special when you just go to the Viz site and you just see the 3 zeros. You're just
Yeah,
like,
4 digits. It's like,
Yeah,
we're
yeah.
here,
Feels good.
baby.
One
And
Piece
it's-
Wa, baby.
For
Yeah.
me, like over this last week, I just been just diving into One Piece wherever I feel like, right? Like just here and there and just all over, watching random videos of just the anime and just, hey, I just decided to read Skypiea, and it's just like, hey, and obviously, like, what does Skypiea have to do with right now? I mean, we can't say right now, but it's just like any One Piece I can get right now, like just for this last, it's just like I've just been so hype, I just can't even focus on
Trying to
other shit
fit as
coming,
much,
really.
nostalgia and memories and look backs as you can, like leading into this discussion. I totally did the same thing, man. When we were in Discord and you were going through the colored, One Piece comic of the Skypiea chapters, and we were going through the Skypiea cover story. You know what I'm saying? Like that shit hit so hard. Thinking about chapter 1000 in the future. You know what I mean? Back then.
Yeah.
Eagle, Oyaji, what's good,
I'm
bro?
back, man.
How are you doing?
I'm doing all right, man. I'm doing good. You know what I'm saying? I'm back and I'm in proper form. You know what I'm saying? I
Right.
got this nice ass jacket on.
Fully
I'm feeling
realized.
myself. But man,
Big
like
Edward.
it's so surreal. Like
Yeah.
making it to this point and just like also thinking that like soon the series will be over. It's like, I don't know, quote unquote soon.
Yeah.
Depending on what you believe.
Yeah.
I think, there's evidence in the pacing and shit that Oda really is trying to end the story soon.
Yeah.
But
Right.
And
Yep.
seeing chapter 1000 really makes you think, like, man, there's probably not going to be that much more of this. And we've been thinking that for a while, but seeing the stamp 1000, it's like,
and Luffy getting on his king shit this chapter on his Meruem shit,
bro.
I got this
Yes,
Meruem
yes.
vibe.
We have to talk about that scene. Like, are we getting into the chapter now though? Because
let's get in there.
But before we get in there though, I do really want to just like, and this is gonna maybe be a little redundant because I feel like we probably had this conversation. We've had a One Piece standalone appreciation episode for the tie-in series, and we've had multiple discussions on how important the series is to us. But I want to rehash this and like have like a brief discussion at least on just what the series like means to us all.
Yes.
Because
I love that.
to me personally, like I am a relatively new fan to One Piece. I definitely have not been reading it since the beginning of serialization or watching it since the start of the anime. Like within the last
has? In America?
5 to
Nobody
7
has.
years, Sensei, within the last 5 to 7 years, I got into One Piece and I would protest the fuck out of watching it.
Yeah.
My cousin Jack and my friends always used to try and get me to watch it. saying like, oh, this is the best shit ever. And I'm like, nah, it looks weird. It's too long.
Yeah.
You know, it looks stupid, whatever, you know, all the shit people
everything,
say.
all of
which
the
is why when people
stereotypes.
say this shit, I get mad as fucking like, I'm like, just watch the fucking show because you're going to like it. Shut the fuck up.
We all felt
So
that
I
way,
watched
no matter
it.
what.
Yeah, we all did. At one
As
point.
soon as I got into it, I fucking binged it all the way to current. And I was somewhere,
Same.
that was like in the Dressrosa arc when I was doing that.
Yeah.
The anime was current. And man, like One Piece really just hits different on so many levels. And like, honestly, it has delivered some of the most emotionally impactful moments of my life, like bar none. And through some of the darkest times of my life now has been like a staple where I can like come back week to week and just like happily just like open my app with glee, like, oh fuck, I'm about to read the new One Piece chapter, you know?
Yeah.
And it's just like, I don't know. It's been a really fucking amazing thing to have in my life. And like, even now when I think about it ending, I kind of tear up a little bit. So I just like, it means a lot to me personally. So like, what about you guys, man?
Yeah.
Man.
Who wants to go next? Yeah.
I mean, I can. And Nick, I won't say like our special thing. I'll let you say the special thing.
Sure.
For me at my time, like, so I want to say I got caught up in the anime around Impel Down, you know, and then I read through like Marineford. I feel like that's about when I got caught up. Yeah. And, you know, I just moved out of the city. I moved to suburbs. I didn't know people out here. I had to go back to the city to chill with my people or whatever. But it was like I'm trying to break away from negative influences. And then Knox hits me up one day on Facebook or some shit. Like, I live right in Egan. I'm like, bet, I do too, bro. Like, where you live? And he's like, I stay over here. And I'm like, bro, we stay across the street.
Right down the street from each other.
What the fuck's going on? So it's like, I'm like, all right, bet. So I go over there, you know, like, and I'm just telling everybody, like, bro, One Piece is that deal. Just like we all did our Naruto time. We all did our Bleach time. Like that was like, you know, everybody went through those phases.
That was entry level.
Exactly. To get to their final form is their One Piece form, clearly.
Yeah.
And so like I don't know, like without One Piece, this whole thing would not happen.
Period.
And like we wouldn't know each other, chill with each other, nothing. If you know, other than me and Eagle, but you know, the rest of us, like we wouldn't have meshed this group together without One Piece. And like we just owe everything to Oda. Honestly, like we wouldn't be here, we wouldn't be doing any of this, we wouldn't be chasing our dream of, you know, speaking about what we love. You know, we're talking about all sorts of other shit, but One Piece is the reason why we're here at the end of the day. And
that was beautifully said.
That's it.
Amazing.
That's it.
Wow.
That's it.
Nick,
Do you want to go next? I'll go next, Joe. So for me, I've been into One Piece since 2006. I was going to visit my friend in California for spring break, and so I had previously seen One Piece on Cartoon Network, right, the 4Kids dub. So I'd seen like one episode in like Drum, and I was like, oh, this is absolute trash. I'm never gonna see this ever. And my buddy, we were just gonna chill at his house for this like spring break, and he's like, yo, I gotta get you to watch One Piece. And I'm like, fine. So we watched the first 5 episodes. I'm like, okay, this is fine. Watch the next 10 episodes. I'm like, okay, this is pretty good. Episode 20, I'm like, yeah, this is pretty good. Episode 30, I'm like, can we keep watching? Can we just, I don't really care. I don't want to go outside. Can we just keep watching One Piece? You know what I mean? And then I got very quickly caught up in the anime. I got caught up with like, you remember like Kaizoku fan subs back in the day, like the subgroup and like
the Kaizoku fan subs.
They're the best.
Yeah, and back in the day, I got caught up around right between Water 7 and Enies Lobby, right around that time. And it's been incredibly impactful for my life too. Like I've often told people, like, say a Venn diagram of my life, right? All the times in my life I've cried. Yeah. You know what I mean? And you got like a sliver for like death in the family, and a little bit bigger sliver for some breakups or whatever.
Yeah.
One Piece, the rest of it. You know what I mean? So many times. One Piece just has the most emotional content for me personally of like almost any story. You know what I mean? Yeah. And fast forwarding a little bit, like Kiko mentioned, like we have a special backstory here because like we would never have met without One Piece. So my girlfriend at the time, but my wife now, my wife and I were all at a con, an anime convention, and I'm dressed up as Zoro, she's dressed up as Robin. We see this dude with this sick Luffy, flat brim or whatever.
Yeah.
And we just like, oh, yo, like, I love your hat, dude. And like, we cross paths several times around the con. And then like, we're like walking back to our hotel room and we see these guys all chilling, on the steps doing the fun stuff or whatever. And we just had to join in. And from that moment on, we were like, always going to cons, we're hanging out like at people's houses or whatever, like just watching all sorts of anime. Inseparable, right? So it's like, it's very powerful. When I went to Japan a couple years ago, we went to One Piece Tokyo Tower. Now it's closed. I will tell you, like, we had just landed in Japan or whatever. It was very late, and we're like, let's just stay up, right? Let's just keep it going, and go to One Piece Tokyo Tower. I was very tired and a little emotional. I was like legit like crying in there,
like a baby, I bet.
Like a baby.
God.
It was so impactful.
Oh, I cried the day I found out that it closed. No cap.
Yeah,
that was.
It's closed like for real.
It's closed.
It's
permanently.
actually
forever.
closed. I thought it was
Forever.
because of COVID.
No, forever.
I think
it's closed.
It was probably because of COVID, but I don't think it's
because
gonna
of
open.
Exactly. It was because of COVID, and they're permanently closed forever.
Oh no, not
Right.
One Piece Tokyo Tower.
Yeah, and that was a legit dream of mine, crushed like real. I was crying for real.
Oh
Yeah.
Shit sucked.
no.
Yeah.
But yeah, end of the
Still got
day,
Evans Arena though, right?
Yeah, right.
end of the day for me, One Piece is my number one favorite ongoing story, right? Like not completed, not kind of completed or whatever. It's my favorite piece of fiction in the world. I love One Piece. But yeah, that's enough for me.
Oh my god, that was beautiful. I love hearing that story every time.
What about you, Knox?
My One Piece history is like super complicated because branching off of the story that Kiko started, when he came over to my house, when we found out that we were neighbors, I didn't know a lot about One Piece besides the 4 Kids dub that I quit. You know what I mean? Obviously, you know what I mean. I saw, and as someone who's as such a big Zoro stan as I am now, the first time I saw that motherfucker in the 4 Kids dub, it made me turn it off. You know what I mean? Like,
Me too.
Yeah,
Same.
I saw Zoro.
We're putting swords in your mouth. I'm not.
I was like, I'm so good on that. You know what I mean? And then Kiko comes over, preaches the gospel to me for X amount of time, and I think I ignored him, and I just like stuck to like I was playing Magic the Gathering super heavy back then. You know what I'm saying? So I was like, yeah, whatever, and I like go back to my deck building, and while he's talking about it, and then a couple more conversations, peppered in throughout X amount of time, and eventually I'm just like, all right, fuck it, where can I read this? You know what I mean? And he's like, no, watch it, and I was like, 4 Kids, PTSD, and like the art style and like the not 4 Kids version isn't any different. You know what I mean? This isn't. I was like, I'm good. I'd rather just read it. You know what I mean? Because I read first and watch things second anyway, just naturally. You know what I mean? And so I start reading it, and I read, I think, to Arlong Park in the manga, and I was like, yeah, this is good. This is good stuff. You know what I mean? And then from Arlong Park, I got a new laptop, and I was like, well, fuck it. I'll just start watching from Arlong Park, So I watched from Arlong Park, and then I got into this groove. I got into this groove where I would, when it made sense to watch things on the laptop, I would watch X amount of chapters, and then I would go to work and still want the story of One Piece, but didn't want to wait until I got home. So I would just read the manga at work from where I left off in the anime. And then when I got home, I would pick up in the anime from where I left off at work in the manga. And that's how I caught up to One Piece. You know what I mean? And when I caught up,
probably allowed you to catch up much quicker.
I did catch up a lot quicker. I did catch up a lot quicker that way, but I know that I missed a lot of like really monumental moments, like in the anime from when it was at its peak, because of this system, you know what I mean? And I tried to go back and watch those episodes, and I could just tell that I kind of like messed my viewing experience up, to some degree, but I was still getting that story, which mattered the most to me. And it was still to this day, probably like my best, fictional experience. You know what I mean? I don't want to say comic book reading experience because it was so, chopped up with anime sessions, but like it was one hell of a ride. And I think that when I caught up, I was in Fishman Island. And before I had gotten to Fishman Island in the actual story chronologically, I couldn't help myself from looking up, what the current story looked like. You know what I mean? And the newest episode, when I finally said, fuck it, I'm watching the newest episode just to see where my people are at, because I was getting to a slow point in the story where I wasn't reading as much as I once was, and I wasn't as excited to hop on my laptop and continue the story. So I was like, fuck it. Let's see what the new shit is talking about. And it was the episode where Luffy takes out half of the Fishman army with Conqueror's Hockey, and the rest of the team goes crazy. That was the newest episode of the time. And I rewatched that episode over and over and over again. I was like, I'm going to get to this point. Because where I was at, bro, I was I think I was in Alabasta.
Sure.
You know what I mean? Like when I said fuck it and like watch the newest episode or whatever. So I was like, that like reinvigorated me, and I was like, I need to see this version of them. So the one point in time during my One Piece experience where I was like, I don't know if this is really for me, I saw the future and spoiled myself, and then got right back into it. And then when I caught up,
that's
bro,
perfect form for you. I just want to say that's perfect form for you. That's the Noxy way. That is the Noxy way.
Yeah. And when I caught up with One Piece, I was so, because I loved Pirates of the Caribbean. Like that was my favorite like movie period at the time. So I was like, let's see how they do this pirate story. And I was so taken aback by the vibe in One Piece, because I was like, this isn't the pirates that I know about, you know what I mean? So I was like, this isn't right. But then that was like the first glimpse into the first real eye opener that I had, that Japanese people can take established concepts and just make them better. You know what I mean? And that was the first time I really got my mind blown by, you know, Japanese writing like that. You know what I mean? And I was like, holy shit, you know, like this is really crazy. And then on top of that, not only is this a wholly new pirate story that blew my mind, but also they're jam packing such big topics, such big deep topics in that I didn't think would speak to me inside of such a Disney feeling goofy pirate story. I wasn't ready for slavery and racist allegories. You know, I wasn't
authoritarianism.
I wasn't ready for how deep this story would get in it. It literally, I'm so glad I didn't get anything spoiled for me, and I could just like experience everything genuinely blindly, you know, except for when I looked into the future and whatnot. But still,
for sure.
I mean, like experiencing all of those themes for the first time inside of a story, which was the last story I would expect to see human auctioning and slavery inside of, was just crazy to me. You know?
Yeah, definitely.
But One Piece means everything to me. You know what I mean? Just like you guys,
So good.
Well, damn,
Just one more really quick thing. I just want to ask you guys real quick, like. When was the time that you knew One Piece was the one? Like when you're going through the story and you're just like, I feel like everybody's got a point where they're like, okay, that's that deal. I'm underestimated.
Mine's the same as yours because mine's the same as yours because you built me up to that moment so like viciously. Yeah. Well, it's Gear second against Bluno, right? Because I'm pretty sure that's your answer too. Because well,
that's one of three answers for me, which is tough. Like that's the thing. It's
that was the one answer I'd heard you say over and over again. This is when I knew I was here forever.
But that was my sales pitch, which was tough to people that never watched it at the time. And I was just like, you got it, because like when you seen, because everybody had a I saw One Piece here and it was bad because I saw 4 kids and I saw Sanji with a sucker or whatever the fuck, right? Like and that was the one. It's just like, okay, you thought the fighting was like this, but it evolves to this, and you got some time to get there. So then we eventually get, because everybody's hyped off Naruto fighting and choreography and after images and fucking substitution jutsus and shit. Like you need after images to sell anime back in 2009, right? Like you just needed it. You need 2000. But yes, like. I mean, first time you see Gear second is some other that's when I wanted to just destroy my whole house. Like I wasn't.
The reason why Gear second hits so hard for me is because and I honestly I say it's because of you, because of how much you hyped it up. But at the same time, you didn't spoil it for me. So when I saw Gear second, I still felt similarly as the way you explained how you felt when you first saw Gear second, even though I didn't really put it together as such a monumental turning point for the series yet. I still felt
without context.
I still felt like, no, this is different for a way that is like kind of hard to explain, because like things in One Piece, like Gear second, you didn't think Luffy was going to do that. You know what I mean? Like you thought that Luffy was going to get by throughout the whole series by just being a malleable rubber man that can make up a new move at any time and just stretch himself into any shape he wants. That's how he's going to get throughout the whole series. You didn't think that there was going to be an actual transformation happening, like a Super Saiyan or something. And now when I saw him transform into Gear second, I was like, Luffy's transforming, and I instantly had a negative thought in my mind, like, oh no, like Dragon Ball and Seven Deadly or whatever. I don't think I was reading Seven Deadly Sins yet. But like still, like you have all of these like negative ideas. Like I'm thinking of Bleach, I'm thinking of Naruto, I'm thinking of all of these, transformations that I felt didn't feel earned enough in the story, or that I felt the theme had kind of gotten stale, and I didn't want to see One Piece reach that point. But then once Lucci explains what's happening to Luffy in Gear Second, I go, oh my god, this is perfect. This isn't just like Rage, I've reached a new level with a hand wavy upgrade with that an explanation comes later and it doesn't make much sense and you kind of just have to deal with it. No, this is entirely thought of and makes perfect sense inside of Luffy's capabilities. You know what I mean? That was like something that I wasn't ready for that level of depth in the power. You know, in one, and then you get Gear Third, and you're like, well, we already saw Gear Second, so Gear Third isn't that special, even though it was still drastic. Then you get Gear Fourth, and as amazing of a moment as that was, we still knew gears were a thing.
Right.
Yeah.
You didn't know gears were a thing before Gear Second. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So,
and it made sense to have like a complete, like significant loss. 1v3 Aokiji beat their, big three. And Luffy said, like, I've been thinking about this since we got washed 1v3 by Aokiji. Like, I need to learn how to fight differently. And like, so like, even though you can always say like,
explanation leading up to it, everything was just beautifully handled.
People nitpick at that a little bit, but like, yeah, exactly, because it's an unexpected power up, and they're like, oh, he just pulled this out of his back pocket. But it's like, there's enough for One Piece. There's enough.
And even for One Piece, it's a lot. You know what I mean?
You're right.
It's like,
especially because
there was narrative build up to that. Even
Yes,
you know what I mean? Like significant narrative build and character build up to that. You know what I mean? Like that was one of Luffy's biggest growth moments in the story up until that point. Before then, it's just onward march to the conflict. You know what I mean? With no thoughts. But that was the first time you got a glimpse into Luffy's mind, and he goes, "I've been super self-conscious ever since we." Got whooped by Aokiji. Like, I've been anxious, I've been frantic, I've been trying to find out how to never let that kind of thing happen to my friends and family again. And you showed me how to defend against something like that.
He said, thank you, right? He's like, I'm so grateful I met you
guys.
guys.
I met you guys here. Yes. That's so beautiful. Definitely.
So great.
Come on. No unexpected hand wavy explanation or power up will ever beat that. You know what I mean? Like, come on.
For sure.
Yes.
For me, Sanji Zeph flashback.
Yeah.
Like
wow, that's early.
So that was what I was saying, right? I was like, yeah, this is pretty good. This is pretty good. And then I was like, that was the moment where I was like, can we keep watching, because this is phenomenal. Like, you never would have expected that to happen,
flashback
right?
like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
And think if you read it.
Yeah.
Oh, right.
I read that.
Difference.
I read that.
Yeah. For sure. And I've read it, obviously many times or whatever, but like, and it hits harder in the manga, but like when you first see it, and it's the first time, it's like, this is way more serious than you ever would have imagined.
I wasn't ready. Like, that was such a dark theme.
Yeah.
So early in the story. You know what I mean? Yeah. And a lot of people might miss that. You know what I mean? Like, it's got such a cartoony, lighthearted veil over it. You know what I mean? And there's a lot of things from the beginning of the story that I went back to and looked at and was like, how did I not notice how like deep and like significant and like dark, this, I thought the darkness didn't start until here, but no, if you go back through, you notice, and it's easy to miss when you're first going through, because you have all these expectations, you know what I mean? Like,
there's something else very special about Sanji's arc is right before it. Johnny and Yosuke show up with scurvy, and they gotta smash their mouths with the fucking limes for vitamin C to cure them. And it's like they warmed up pirate fucking things they got to go through. Their trials and tribulations, like shit like scurvy, and it's like obviously not being able to feed and fucking get water for yourself is a huge fucking thing when you're on a boat for fucking 3 months. Who knows? Traveling across fucking giant oceans, and it was just I really loved how that little part like warmed up to like everything that Sanji's arc encompassed of like, if somebody's hungry, we feed them, whether they can't pay or not. It was beautiful. It's just so beautiful, bro. So I love
that's a scene where I will consistently cry. No cap. Every time I see it, I will definitely bawl. It's just so powerful for me personally.
That's the Mary funeral for me. But
Eagle though. What was the moment that really had you like, for this is forever?
One Piece is the shit. Like, I would say pick out of a hat any of the moments like within the Arlong Park saga, like going through the first set of islands where Luffy's getting the initial crew, you know what I'm saying? All those like emotionally impactful moments for me, from the Kobe moment, you know, to the Sanji moment in Baratie, to the Zoro moment when he lost to Mihawk and he said like, I'll never lose again.
Man.
You know, does that sound good? Like, is that all right? Kaizo cool?
Yeah.
Like,
that
and
was
then,
the
of
first
course-
moment where I was like, I like this series. Zoro versus Mihawk was the first time where I was like, okay, I'm here now. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, it was.
That's why that was my like
and then
first. Definitely. Same
Nami, you're my friend. That was
the
first time where I was like, yo, this shit hits.
Stabbing the
different.
tattoo was different, bro. Arlong.
Yeah, the tattoo stabbing, and when she finally asked for help, and when he says like, "Of course I will," without missing a beat, like that's what I've been here waiting on this whole fucking time. What are you talking about?
And he puts the
Like,
hat on
I've
her
been
head
here.
and then takes the
Yep.
big ass breath. Oh yeah, that's what he says. Yeah, he doesn't shout Arlong's name.
And then at the end of the Arlong fight, he climbs up out of the rubble and shouts, "Nami, you're my friend." Like,
You are my
get it through
Nakama.
your fucking head. And like, even the moment, you know, with where he kicks her desk out of the fucking out of the
it
out of the
starts
room, and
destroying the cartography room.
Yes,
that shit,
bro.
like, this is what's
wild.
keeping her here. Starts fucking up all the charts, fucking the room up, and she realizes that everyone else is like, "Yo, what the fuck's going on up there? It's crazy ass fight," and she's the only one that realizes like what Luffy's doing.
Yeah.
And she starts, dude. The emotional moments in One Piece are truly what have solidified it to me is like the greatest story ever fucking told, dude.
Yes.
Yeah, that's the problem too. It's like when you try to, you can't explain it. You can't put it in words
Right.
to like
You have to experience
Naruto
it.
heads,
Yeah.
right? Like people who are just like, oh no, I just want high octane, great choreography, choreographed fights.
Yeah.
It's like,
Who cares if
We
we have
have
like
that-
a wishy-washy soap opera story going on in the background?
Yeah,
that things
yeah,
are constantly
yeah, we're-
confused and rarely make sense. These fights are
We're-
slapping.
3 to 5 characters matter instead of 3 to 5,000 characters, right? Like, but yeah, I agree so much with Eagle. It's like you can't replicate those moments for you. You can't put them into words. You can't put it out on a piece of paper. You can't you can't. There's nothing
You can't.
tangible I can show you like a fight to sell you on what One Piece will give you, and it's
You really can't, because if you show them emotional moments out of context, it just looks weird.
Yeah, it won't.
And
It
if
won't
you
hit.
try and lay it all out for them,
Yeah.
I've tried to explain these moments to people, and I'm like, okay, this shit happens because da 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 da, and then I keep like my mind just keeps opening up to more shit that's connected, and I'm like, so da 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 da, and then before I know it, I'm trailed off to some shit that does not even it's connected, but they're sitting here going like, what the fuck are you talking about, bro? So I'm like,
Exactly.
It's like if you show them the fights, if you try to hook them with the fights, they're not going to have the context that make those fights matter.
Yep.
And just like you said, if you try to show them the emotional moments as well without context, then they're just going to be like, what am I doing here? It truly is something you just have to sit down, throw all of your expectations away at the door, and just sit down and want to experience. You know what I mean? It's not
Enjoy
something-
it. Enjoy the greatest story ever written.
Exactly.
Just-
And
that's what I tell people. I'm like, dude, just watch it because you will like it.
Well, so for the people that really like, and I understand that early animation can be a deal breaker to newer fans, and that is a valid, very valid, reason. In my
you just have to
opinion.
trust the person that's telling you to try to get past.
You can
that.
either-
And that's what I did.
Obviously, that's what we hope that everyone will
My
do.
sister-
Is just trust the recommendation that they got,
Yeah.
but also at the same time, if it's really that difficult to get through the early animation, I always say read the manga until Arlong Park. Or if you still can't do the animation at Arlong Park, it goes HD at Water 7. So read the manga at Water 7 and then start watching from Water 7 on, and then you will, and then it's fine.
Yeah.
And then for the people who say, I don't care what it looks like, I don't care that the animation gets better, I don't care this, that, and that, it's too long, it's too daunting.
Yeah.
Like get you a filler list and just don't think about it as 1,000 episodes. Think about it as 150.
Yeah.
What's the biggest number of anime you've watched? Treat One Piece as if it's that. You know what I mean?
Right.
And then by the time you get to chapter or episode 50, you won't care about how long it is anymore. You know
What I tell
Literally, by the
people-
time you get to episode 100, you're gonna. I saw actually a meme that encompassed this really well. It was like me at episode 0 of One Piece. Fuck. There's so many episodes of One Piece.
Yeah.
And it was like me at episode 900 of One Piece. Fuck, there's not enough episodes of One Piece.
Yes. That's what I tell people. I tell people, like, think of your favorite story, right? If it's not One Piece, right? Think of your favorite story. Don't you wish there was more that's also better?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Like, One Piece just keeps getting better over time, right? So it's like, don't you want more better? I don't see the issue. Exactly. Like, it's weird.
I never understood that situation, because it's like, you know, once you understand and you love it, I feel like people care too much about wanting to be caught up. They have FOMO, they have fear of missing out on current One Piece conversations. So they when they start One Piece, they go, I just want to be caught up. You know what I mean? And it's like, no, dude, the story is so much more than the current conversation. Yeah, you know what I mean? Like there is so much to love about One Piece on the way to getting caught up. Don't let that FOMO make you think that there's nothing worth it about One Piece until you get caught up. That's just not true. It's brilliant throughout. You will get
what I couldn't give
so much sooner.
What I couldn't give to be back on Shabandi today. Like,
Yes.
If I could just be watching Shabandi for the first time or reading Shabandi for the first time, bro, it's like what I wouldn't give to feel those feels again. Like it's just it's like being caught up is obviously it's great. Exactly. No. I'm not saying
like,
I'm not saying that I don't feel any
these
different.
moments, these emotionally impactful moments, I'm like sitting here like it's the first time I ever watched them. I'm like, fuck, man.
And I agree with that. But I think we've done this kind of for a while, but I didn't really tell my actual true one. My true one is a cover story.
What is your moment?
My true one is a cover story, but I saw it in the anime because it was animated, and that is Kobe Meppo. When Kobe and Hell Meppo join, and then you get fucking Garp and you get Bogart, and you get Garp sleeping on the fucking ship, not doing nothing, like, fuck, you know, whatever, I don't give a fuck. Like, Bogart's got it, right? Yeah. And then he he wakes up, and then fucking Morgan, like, cuts him right down the fucking, you know, and you think he's, like, dead, and he's just sleeping again. Like, man, fuck, bro. And I'm just like, man, we're gonna start exploring the Marines, and even though you had Smoker and Tashigi before that, technically on Logtown, because I don't think you get those episodes until like I want to say it's between Whiskey Peak and Little Garden, maybe, but somewhere in that area is where you get those episodes if you're watching the anime. But once I was like, okay, we got Smoker and Tashigi, and now we're getting Kobe and Hell Meppo like doing it, and you see that they're officially accepted to the Marines. I was like, I know, and actually, too, because you also connect it with, you see how shiesty the Marines are in the Arlong Park. You got that Nezu rat fuckface, you know, stealing fucking Nami's fucking, So it's like,
I bet that was the moment for you. Once you start seeing how big the geopolitical implications of the series is, and you start seeing that, like, the government isn't tight, you know what I mean? And they're actually the bad guy. That's when you really get the first thought, oh, the government is the bad guys here. That's when you first see that.
Love that.
That was probably it for you. Oh my god.
Yeah, those were just, it's like, once I know that this world is going to be so like, and just when you have moral gray area across the map for everybody on both sides, on both, it's perfect. It's a perfect story because it just leads so much to like philosophies, everybody's philosophy, and they're gonna spit, they're gonna be out there spitting, and you'll be like, damn, I fuck with that philosophy, and then somebody else can spit some shit. Oh, I kind of fuck with this philosophy, and you're just like, okay, Ikeanu did nothing wrong. I'm not that guy. Right. I'm just saying, people are out there saying shit like that.
It's
right?
so because, not a story that you think is going to like approach morality the way that it does, because the veil that it has makes you think. You know what I mean? Like, it's very bright. It's very colorful. The characters are very round, fat, disproportionate. You know what I mean? So you automatically think, okay, there's going to be an established good. There's going to be an established bad. Maybe the main character is morally gray at best, but like, you didn't think that there was going to be such differing opinions inside of the entire cast of One Piece. You know what I mean? And that you were going to see such drastic varying outlooks throughout the story. You know what I mean? And you just don't know. You can't tell. It's impossible to be able to predict what you're going to see in this story. And when you finally get to a point where you realize, oh my God, this is just one of the most unpredictable pieces of fiction that I've ever encountered. It then continues to start really trying you on like before you realize it, you're like, holy shit, okay, this pirate stuff is getting kind of deep. You know what I mean? And then once you're like a grizzled One Piece veteran, and you're like, I understand that One Piece is something that I'll just never be able to predict. And you still try because you're so knowledgeable now. You're like, I got this. I'm One Piece. I am the One Piece fan. Give it to me, Oda. I bet you I got you. And then as soon as you reach that level of confidence, he starts making it harder to predict and harder and harder. You know what I mean? It's like, no, this is supposed to be getting easier. You know what I mean? Like, but no.
I think we should move on in the story. I just say, but something in the same vein of what you're saying, though, that pertains to this chapter. Like, I don't think a lot of people called, you know, the matchup that we see in this chapter.
No way.
Should we get into it?
Well, I
Let's get
think
in there,
we should
yeah.
just get into the
Yeah.
chapter. But that's what I just want to say.
Let's go.
I don't think people expected 2 Yonko versus 5 Supernova at the
Yeah.
top. Like
Yeah.
I just don't think a lot of people. And I don't.
We'll
and that
talk
doesn't
about
mean
it.
that's actually the matchup. But
Yeah,
anyway,
yeah.
but yes, let's
Yeah.
go. Let's
Yeah.
do.
Absolutely.
Let's just do it.
Eagle Sama, lead us in.
Yes.
Man,
Oh, yeah,
getting right into
gee.
this chapter. We start off with Luffy. You know,
Well,
saying up the
wait. No,
staircase.
we got to address this cover. We have to address the color
Oh.
spread, right?
Yes.
Yeah, because
Right?
it's
Color
1 of
spread.
2 or 2 of 2.
Because one,
Yeah.
it's
Right.
it's a double spread, right? So so it's a quadruple spread, but also it's a homage to One Piece Chapter 100's cover spread.
Which I have actually here. I have One Piece Color Walk Volume 2.
Yes.
And I was just actually flipping through this today. I did not know that this was in here until I saw it in here today. But I'll page. This is the throwback.
Yes.
Can you see that?
Yes, it's so good, right? So when
yes.
when I read the scans, I saw the other half of this double spread, and the reason why I linked it to Chapter 100 is because someone on Twitter was literally just talking about Chapter 100. You know what I mean? So then before or once we get the full picture of it, I was like, oh my god, Sanji with a fish, Luffy with the meat, Zoro with the sword, gold everywhere. I'm gonna go be the guy that like finds this out. You know what I mean? I was like, I'm gonna be the guy that like points this out to the internet. You know what I mean? Like I found the reference. You know what I mean? Like I'm gonna be the first one. And then as I go to Twitter with it, I see that someone posts like a side by side, you know what I mean, comparison, but it's the color, it's this color spread for Chapter 1000, but like in physical form. You know what I mean? So it was already made a comparison before I even had the chance to see the full picture. And I was like, no, I thought I was gonna be so cool. I was so ready.
So sick.
But dude, this is beautiful, man. Like I love the callback there.
Yes.
Yeah.
Man,
Hell yeah.
is this
It
his
is a
best
great
color
spread.
Is this number one?
That's
I mean, it's a double color spread.
It's a
Like,
double
how could it
double.
not be number
Yeah,
one?
yeah. And it's 1000. You know, there's
Right.
there's big historical influence there in that. But
It's hard to pick because there are so many phenomenal color spreads.
Yeah.
So it's like
That
it's
is
hard to be like, oh, is this the best one?
Yeah,
like,
that's a weird
does
question.
it matter? We got
Yeah.
like a million great ones.
yeah,
Yeah.
you're right. But
It's
yeah,
like-
let's get into the chapter though, or what?
Yeah.
Man. So yeah. Obviously the Musketeers clearing the way for Luffy, man.
Yo,
My
I
man's finally
really loved this scene because Luffy has obviously a very hard time remembering names, and
Yes.
Yes.
for I think for the entire story, you kind of are wondering, does he really not remember people's names, or is he kind of being disrespectful or whatever? And
He's
here
just fucking around.
we have proof. Like, I think this is literal proof. He actually remembers everyone that at least is like good and like
Yeah.
that he fucks with, right?
Yeah.
Because it's like,
Exactly.
I remember. I don't worry. Like, I know who you are. Like, you're the dude who did this thing. And like,
Yeah.
man, Shishilian like crying or whatever in
Yeah.
response to that. Like, do you think that is him being like, this dude is like not just our savior, but like he's the future pirate king and he knows who I am.
Yeah.
Right? Like, do you think that that's a part of the tears or whatever? I don't know.
didn't
Like,
think about
it just really hit for me.
I didn't think about it like that, but now that you mention it, yeah, totally. I just assumed that it was like you just reminded me, of
Yeah.
what I
Oh,
what
sure,
I
of
did.
that
So
time,
then,
yeah.
what
like,
right.
you reminded me
For
of that
Rise
time,
Up,
so I'm
yeah.
crying. But it could also be like, yo, the future pirate king is acknowledging me here, which is a huge moment because when I was going through One Piece, the first time I was like, man, I cannot wait until Luffy is feared, notorious. You know what I mean? I can't wait until, people like look at him and go like, oh my God, he's in front of me. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
I just love a good rags to riches story, and
which is now.
and inside of a 30-year epic like One Piece, you have so much nostalgia in the earlier parts of the story when he's nobody and watching him become somebody, and now to this point where we're waiting sometimes 2 weeks or a month in between chapters, when we get these moments where Luffy really feels regal, like he deserves that position he's been shouting about the entire series. It really sells that scene, and I think that the way that you explained it just now makes it hit way harder for me. Absolutely.
Yeah.
It's gonna feel even better next chapter though, when a
Yeah.
Yonko finally acknowledges
Yes!
my man. Kaido gonna get up like, okay. he about to get up like, okay,
Yeah.
you're here now.
Yeah.
Let's go.
Man, how epic would it be if Kaido was like, all right, you clocked me similarly in the last bout, but it didn't hit like that. I'm going to go hybrid now. Luffy brings the hybrid out? Oh, come on,
In
man.
one punch right
Come
away.
on,
That's
man.
It's
wild.
finna come out. It's finna come out.
Come
Not right now,
on,
probably
definitely.
not, but it's finna come out, bro.
Oh,
Yeah.
it's
sure.
definitely-
Oh,
it's
dude,
definitely
but yeah, I got.
Yeah.
Let's not jump right to the end of this chapter.
Yes,
What-
yes.
Sure.
Okay,
Yeah,
so
So how
one
about
thing.
the next part here?
Yes.
We got. Well, I was just gonna say, I just really want to focus on the fact that Queen is a full android, right? Like,
Yeah,
he
that's
is
so
the same
sick.
as. He's same as Frankie,
Yeah.
same as probably Vegapunk. I would assume Vegapunk has androided himself at this point, right? Like
That's a good assumption, I think.
yeah.
Yeah. Don't know, but yeah, good
like,
assumption.
I mean, hey, Frankie used all fucking Vegapunk's blueprints
Tech,
to
yeah.
improve
Yeah.
himself. So, like, definitely. But
Yep.
it's just, it makes me like just think too with like him being a full-on android. I mean, I guess this android part doesn't really just. I don't know. Maybe the matchups is what it seems like. You're throwing Zoro away. It's like, who are King and Queen going to fight, right? Like,
Yeah.
I mean, does Marco actually have a fight, and does he just fight King 1v1 since they're very similar,
Yeah.
obviously,
Yeah.
devil fruit wise? I mean, I really don't think so. I mean, Sanji's not here. Sanji's got to fight one, right?
Yeah.
Jinbei's
so.
got to fight one, right?
I think that we should move away from, and I understand that the story has been implying
know
there's
that.
going to be specific matchups involved, and I think it's cool to discuss the matchups, and I know that you know that, but I think
We
that,
could talk about we could talk for hours about
Yeah.
the literal, all
I
the
know
top
that.
possible matchups or whatever.
Right,
For
but-
sure.
Sure,
but
sure.
I
But I'm
just-
saying
yeah.
every chapter, I want to say like if like does not feel with when you have something like this, it's like you should be able to say, hey, who fights who? Like who do these guys fight? Like I know you guys don't want to like go super deep into the matchups. But
I like
when
that
you have a chapter
convo.
like this.
I'm gonna.
Yeah.
I know, but when you put 5 people up here and take them out of the battlefield that you were, kind of placing around here
Yeah.
on the chessboard,
Yeah, yeah.
it's like it does a lot for matching up, right? So
yeah.
I'm gonna come with a hot take here. I think there's been a lot of like controversy over the past years, concerning Marco, his level of strength, his ability.
Mhm.
So with this now happening this chapter, I think, I don't know. How do you guys feel about Marco just handling both of them?
I'm fine with it.
I'm
I
fine
think
with
Marco
it.
has been heavily
Yeah.
disrespected. He gets
Yeah.
shit on a lot. People say he's not as strong as he should be because of, Marineford, whatever. There's a lot of circumstances surrounding that. Oda either, not showing us things or not having the ability to show him or not having the mental scope. Maybe he didn't have his head wrapped around it completely, whatever.
yeah.
I think Marco, I don't know, man. He's powerful. People don't
Yeah.
respect him enough.
He
And
is.
he's
I
been
First
a
division
commander
captain?
on Whitebeard's crew since
Yeah.
he was like fucking 12.
I think the
He was a
issue,
child in the flashback fighting with fucking the Pirate King's crew.
yeah, and I
Yeah.
think the issue is that One Piece has a very established hierarchical ladder of power inside of its story. So obviously that creates the situation that we have inside of power scaling communities that have obviously run away with it. You know what I mean? But power does matter in One Piece enough to the author to establish that ladder. So
Yeah.
when you have these official rankings, the community is going to start, relatively placing people inside of their appropriate scales. So then when Oda, who establishes this hierarchical ladder, you know what I mean, does something that the people who have taken that hierarchy and created their own headcanon around it, you know what I mean? When Oda writes things in his story that contradict people's expectations of characters based on their assumption of the hierarchy that Oda's established, and they go, why doesn't Oda care about power as much as we do? You know what I mean? And I understand why they're confused, because it's like, why would you create an established system for strength, if you're not going to stay true to it? But their true, it's different for everybody.
Yeah.
Because people
I think-
interpret strength differently in One Piece, because this isn't a Nen power system. You don't have firm, rules and stats and details to reference back to. You only have this character is this strong, he's at this rank, so therefore characters beneath him shouldn't be able to beat him. That's really the scale you like go off of in One Piece. Like, that's not as specific as Oda clearly is making it. Otherwise, if Oda was catering 100% to the power system or the power situation in One Piece, then we would get tried and true 1v1 matchups all the time so that those egos can be tickled. You know what I mean? But that's not the kind of story Oda is telling.
Yes.
You know what
Yeah,
I mean?
think,
The power system and structure matters, but it's not to be sitting there going, okay, will this fuel my agenda? No. Okay, complaint. Oh wait, my fave got a great feat. All right, awesome. Thank you, Oda. That's not the kind of story he's writing for you.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, and I think
And,
I don't know. Marco, he's been out here for a long time. It would feel good to me, I think, to see him fucking handle
Body
both of
both
these
of
two
them.
at the same
Yeah.
time. Yeah, and maybe not body both of them. Maybe fight them.
He got him in the yoke. He said, "Come here."
Yeah, he did.
Maybe
He
fight them
him up for
handily.
sure. That was
and then
wild.
somebody
bro.
else
That's so
comes in and
wild.
helps or something. But like, it would feel really good to me. I'd be like, man, Marco is really out here like a motherfucker. And like, keep in mind, he is somebody who can fucking not only hold his position on Whitebeard's crew for as long as he did from such a young age, but also then go and he got in a war with Blackbeard, who is somebody that is acknowledged as a Yonko.
Yeah.
Took Whitebeard's fruit, has a fruit that can, if he grabs you, take your devil fruit away. Marco regenerates, but Blackbeard can get rid of your fruit if he grabs you. And he came away from that war with not even a scar.
Yeah, yeah. It's true.
So like,
It's true.
Marco,
And he was in the
he's
mix.
out
It's
here.
not like he was like not
I'm
participating.
glad.
He was in the mix of
He
action.
was the
and still
commander of
came
that
out
war.
clean.
Well, and-
He was
Exactly,
the
and
crew.
I'm-
He was the pilot. He was the
Exactly.
captain at that point. Go ahead, Kiko. Sorry.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I'm just saying that's perfect. I'm so glad that you said that because like Queen says right here, he asks, is Marco invincible? Which you're thinking like, okay, why did you shoot bullets that weren't Kairoseki to begin with? Like, or why didn't you have hockey on your bullets? Like bullets. Like we assume like Ben Beckman is shooting like hockey bullets, right?
Oh, yeah.
But I mean, is it possible that hockey bullets are not even effective against Marco? Like, is it
Ben Beckman
possible
is
that
shooting like invisible bullets made of just hockey. Ain't even.
Yeah, possibly. Exactly. Yeah, sure. Sure. But regardless, like, we've only ever seen Marco ever take damage when they slapped the Kairoseki handcuffs on him in Marineford. That's the only time we've ever seen Marco take damage. So it feels like, is it only Blackbeard? Like you said, Blackbeard's fruit is the one that obviously we know that can counteract that. Or Kairoseki. It feels like Marco had, because he's a Phoenix, has less, just weaknesses, which...
Yeah.
True.
That's fine with me. Honestly, if he could as being a Phoenix and regenerating, letting hockey shots pass right through him, I'm perfectly fine with that. Like that makes a lot of sense to how he is who he is and like all the stuff that Eagle already said and just like you don't see him with no scars, with no nothing. He did take damage in Marineford, but like that's the only time you ever see and you see like Kizaru hit him with like a bunch of fucking like ice, Jesus Christ, light, the wrong guy, light fucking bolts. And it's just like it does nothing to him. So, I mean.
I think the thing is that like people assume things based off of Oda's storytelling structure.
Yeah.
So you introduce the first Yonko situation inside of the Whitebeard Pirates. So then now you know that like as the story goes on, bigger threats show up and people get stronger. So then the first Yonko showing is going to feel very underwhelming to the next Yonko showing because you have to do it bigger and better the next time. So when you do it bigger and better the next time, you're going to automatically assume that the Whitebeard Pirates are weaker in comparison.
Even though Whitebeard did some nutty shit.
Yeah, exactly.
Like even looking back now, what we've seen Yonko do currently.
Yeah.
Whitebeard did just arguably as crazy shit. This motherfucker tilted the whole of Marineford. And then motherfuckers forget about, nobody ever mentions this. Whitebeard said, "What do you want?" When he said, "I am Whitebeard," and fucking slashed the ground and fucking caused the whole ass like tornado that lifted them like a mile into the air and all the fucking
no
Marines
one
were
brings
falling.
that up.
Nobody brings that up. That was brute force, no power. He fucking caused the tornado.
Yeah, that's so sick.
That
Old as
lifted
hell,
human
super-
bodies fucking a mile into the air. Like that shit was nuts.
But see, like the reason why I'm bringing that up though is because like I think that this scene is Oda telling us like, yo, I understand that I introduced these characters in a way where I didn't really show you everything that they can do, even though the situation definitely called for us to show everything that they can do. But that's Oda telling you like my storytelling is not for your power scaling. I have a story that I'm trying to tell here with these characters involved. Too bad you have this like headcanon hierarchical structure that you want to place everyone on. Like I have to show them in a weaker light sometimes than you think that they should be because it makes sense for my story. You know what I mean? But this chapter is Oda going, no, Marco is still that motherfucker, even though I showed you him first. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Now, here we go, the newest Yonko team that you guys see. You guys should think that these are the strongest, right? Nope. Come over here, king. Come over here, queen.
Got
I'm
your
fucking
ass
Marco.
hemmed
You
up.
forgot, didn't you? Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Like, that's cool to me. That's fucking cool
For sure.
as shit to me.
Yeah,
You know what I
yeah.
mean?
What I personally, my personal approach to One Piece, especially with these kind of questions, right? Because we can say like that could Marco body both these guys and I'd be for it. Yes,
Yeah.
I'd be for it.
Yes.
Could Marco be like, all right, I got Zoro up there, I'm out later, y'all. I did my job.
Yeah.
He just leaves. I'd be cool with that. You know
Yeah.
why? Because
He did what he needed to do.
every single I heard a great quote about One Piece. One Piece is a story where you can think of all these cool things. Think of the coolest thing you can imagine. Oda will give you something cooler, right?
Yeah.
I have trusted Oda's writing for years and years, obviously,
Yes,
right? And like
yes.
he has never failed to deliver. And so I feel like for me personally, it's like I'm just sitting back for the ride, right? And obviously that's separate from theorizing and trying to
Right.
figure out who is the matchups and everything. But
Right.
like it's easy for me to imagine many possibilities for all these matchups and fights.
Yeah. And people hit me up in my DMs all the time. It's like, yo, I just watched you guys' One Piece segment. It's like, and people are asking us questions, that they hear other, One Piece content creators addressing all the time.
Sure,
And
sure.
They're like, well, like, why don't you guys ever talk about like how weird, the power situation is now that the Scabbards did all of this to Kaido? And it's like, really? You know what I'm saying? It's like, okay, it's like, I understand if that's what you go to for One Piece content, because you want to hear, content creators argue about power in the series all day. Great. Stay with them. They're doing a great thing. I'm not trying to take anything away from any of them and whatnot, but like, don't hit me up, in my inbox asking how
That's
come
not
we
our
didn't
steez,
talk,
bro.
how come we didn't talk about how the Zoro versus Sanji situation for one. Sanji took a L, y'all didn't even address that. Zoro took a L, y'all didn't like. Shut the fuck up, dude. Like, we talk about like One Piece. Like, if you read One Piece for power feats, why are you watching us?
Yeah.
You're gonna be disappointed every time. Like, we're here for Oda, not
Or come to
our
us for a
egos.
new perspective on
Yeah,
One Piece.
yeah.
Yes,
You know what I
yes,
mean?
definitely.
Anyway, sorry.
And so I think moving on here, we should talk about like someone must have kept Odin's journal safe from the burning castle, right? They
Yeah.
threw it out the door, they threw it out the window. We gotta make sure this legacy gets passed on. It's just like, I mean,
I'm gonna
I
go
don't-
off on a limb
I
here
don't-
and say it was Kaido.
For what? Oh, that's a cool idea.
He
Shit.
respects the fuck out of Odin.
Yeah. Dude, I didn't even think
I
about
don't
that.
know.
That's so cool.
And
The
it is
one
was
last
that,
thing
like,
he
there,
does,
right?
the one last thing he does is go, okay, this whole thing is on fire. This is the motherfucker I think died, a little bit prematurely in a very dishonorable way. Maybe the one thing I can do is keep his fucking journal safe.
yeah.
Somebody else may
I
respect
like
this
that
man
too.
as much as I have,
Yeah.
Yeah. And my first thought is, why wouldn't Kaido just keep it then? Why would he just throw it away, right?
Maybe something
But-
along the lines of like a story of a man this great deserves to be told and deserves to be heard and read.
Sure.
You know,
Yeah. But then why wouldn't he keep it still?
Exactly.
No.
Well, I'm saying because it's the PTSD from Odin, right? Like
Yeah.
it's
He doesn't want the
can't-
reminder.
He can't keep it around. He'll read it. He'll be like, "Damn, I really deprived this man of like."
Greatness.
Yes, like we all know, like everybody knows, anybody of our era, of our Rocks era, Roger era, whatever, knew Odin was a special being, right? Like, and we just hold him with that. Like, we really like, and obviously he knows that since he's been drinking about it and been wallowing in his like, disrespect for 20 years. But like,
maybe we could like
Okay,
link
go
the two
ahead.
of our ideas up together and like maybe he sat in the burning castle and did read the journal and was like, fuck, dude. And then threw it out like, yo, I can't deprive the world of this story.
Yo.
or just
No,
was mad. He's like, I really fucked up and just threw the bitch because
Yeah,
he was
just like
mad.
out of
And it just
anger,
went out
like
the
didn't even
window.
think
Yeah,
about
yeah.
it, said fuck it.
Yeah. Threw
Yo.
it through the wall. Boom. Like,
Yeah.
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 Wow.
Damn.
Yeah, that'd be really cool. Because it's just like, I mean, it also could have just been Toki, right? Like Toki had it, and she's like, I sent these people on, I sent my son, Kinemon, whatever, 20 years in the future, and it's like, I need to pass on Odin's like prophecy, if you will, because that's really what it is. It's not like he's not the one prophesizing, it's he has the information to tie the prophecy and whatever the Joy Boy history, all this shit together, and that's what I theorized last week, or not, was it 2 weeks or whatever, 999 of like I thought we were really going to get the full, maybe not full, but like a big look into the Will of D because of how he's
Yamato ended
holding
the
the journal.
chapter.
You know, Yamato. You know, he's holding the journal while saying these things. So like, I really thought that's what we were going to get. But regardless, what we did get instead is that was the end of my little brother's dream, right?
Yeah.
Like, what does that really mean, right? Like, because that I feel like is the main focus of this chapter to me. And like, that's the next thing, like right after this, that was important to me.
And I think to piggyback off that a little bit, and I do not.
Yeah.
I would love. We should definitely talk about this. But on this section, right? I was initially thinking like, oh, like when say page 7 or whatever, right? 6, 7. You know, like this is at the end of my little brother's dream, and then. But you don't know what Ace said exactly, right?
It's to be the freest man on the sea.
Well, maybe it could. Varel could be that. But initially I was thinking like
about that. But
when Luffy, when Ace and Sabo are laughing at Luffy, like I'm imagining they're laughing at him for saying I'm going to be the Pirate King, right? But Yamato thinks to himself, those are the words the King of Pirates spoke. So I feel like it wouldn't be the Pirate King thing, right? Like, because the concept of the Pirate King is already established.
Yeah, and why would it be a mystery in this chapter? Yeah. And why would it even be a mystery in this chapter? If it's something that he actually has previously said, it is something else. It's definitely something else. And what I believe it is truly uniting the world, opening all borders, and not to make just me the freest man to make everybody the freest man. Everybody has the freedom of the Pirate King. Yes. Every single person on this planet has the freedom of the Pirate King.
Yo.
And you have just hit me
There's
to
a
my
lot of
core.
evidence to support this. There's a lot of evidence to support this.
That is
That's
tight.
exactly
Everybody should be free to pursue
and that's what he's been doing.
their life.
And that's exactly what he's been doing the entire time.
Liberating
the entire
people
story.
left and right.
Liberating people.
And anybody who doesn't have the courage to act on their own dream, he just calls them a pussy. He's like, "You're a coward." That's what he said. That's what he said to Kobe at the beginning of the story.
Yeah.
He said, "You're too much of a coward to even act on your own dream.
Yeah.
If I die pursuing my dream, I don't give a fuck because I died pursuing
He
my
said the
dream."
same thing to Shirahoshi too. Yawahoshi,
To many
I've
people.
called it.
To many people.
Turned her name into the word coward. No, that's a big one.
But like looking back on very, very important conversations here, I wrote a few things. So the very first words that Roger ever says to Rayleigh, "Do you want to turn this world upside down with me?" Right?
Yep.
Roger wants to destroy the fucking, systemic issues in
Status
place,
quo.
right? Definitely wants to destroy the world government.
Yeah.
And that wasn't, obviously that hasn't been like the picture that Oda has painted from us. He's just painting that Oda is the Pirate King. He wanted to be the Pirate King, he wanted to explore, he wanted to do all these things, whatever, get the treasure, whatever. And I know as time goes on, it gets deeper than that. But like on surface value, that's, when we get the flashbacks of those times, it's just like, okay, we always knew there was something a little deeper. And like when you get like Rayleigh, while thinking about that time, thinks about he's just thinking in his mind like nothing in this world happens by accident. Our destinies slowly take form, is what he's saying. Like and Roger says to Rayleigh in their very last meeting, like, "I will not die, Rayleigh," right? Like, "I will not die." And that doesn't mean that himself, his will, because
His will, his dream,
will, and multiple times, will is bolded, right? And that is death. I will not die. My will not die.
Right.
And so like when Whitebeard is looking at Blackbeard basically on his death stance, not deathbed, because man, Oyaji's out here, bro.
On his death stance.
He looked dead in his face like, "You're not the man Roger's waiting for, Teach. You're not the man. Like, you're not." And he said, one man carrying thousands of years of history on his shoulders will challenge the entire world. The entire world will go through an unprecedented upheaval once that man finds this treasure. With Luffy and Ace's background, to think about them on Goa Kingdom and on whatever, not Fuchsia Village, but it's Goa Kingdom, the entire island, right? And that they meet Sabo, right? And they already know, they learn way back then how, celestial dragons or nobility works, because they weren't celestial dragons, but they're nobility that were just like under celestial dragons or whatever. And so like they learn all that stuff and they're already, pretty knowledgeable about how shitty the world is. And if you just like think of like all the connections, like, you know, what I'm saying, Rayleigh is saying like nothing happens by accident. It's like, what's the odds, right? And obviously it happened in the story, so it happened. But like, if you think about it objectively, what's the odds that Roger is going to give Garp information about his pregnant wife, and Garp's going to go run, save Ace, and put him and Luffy together? Like, it's just so, you know, all these things and that are unlikely but happened, of course. And none of these things happened by accident. This was all obviously destiny, and this was the way that it's supposed to go. But you think about I really like to think about Dragon too, right? Like, because Dragon is like, fuck One Piece, I'm gonna do this shit myself. Like, I'm about to upheaval the whole entire world myself. So like, these monkeys, the monkeys, are are all, you know, tied in with fate.
Playing, you know, Monkey Barney.
Oh, come on. That was a random generated name that some internet site gave Knox, and we were all, you know, looking at it sideways. I
was like, that's gonna be my that's gonna be my name this segment. Y'all gotta call me that.
No. Yeah, but like, that's what I'm saying. Like, Luffy saying these things are not saying this thing in particular is not out of his character, right? Like, this makes a lot of sense for him to say something like, okay, these are the things I've been saying the entire time. I'm just, why do I need to go to the full extent of I'm going to make everybody free when I haven't even made myself free yet? Like, right? Wow. So like, I got to be Pirate King first before I can make my true dream come true of making everybody Pirate King.
Wow, dude.
Bro,
that's beautiful.
Being that free, he would have the freedom to free everyone else, right? If you really are the freest person in the world. I absolutely love that theory.
I'm fucking with this heavy, dog. Super heavy.
It would be too wild for Luffy to have some kind of weird ass fucking new dream out of nowhere that didn't like, there was like, what else? I mean, it could be just like
have evidence for already.
I mean, and even if we do have evidence, you know, I'm sure there is something like there would be other things, I'm sure, that Oda,
I feel like you've named
just as hard as that,
but
but
like moments that, like, you know, that
are evidence of why
that give your idea
that makes sense for that
credence.
And it's just like, you know, could there be other ideas? Like Nick said, whatever we think of, Oda can think of something better. So it's like, exactly. So,
but it doesn't mean it's not really cool to think about it right now, because that gave me goosebumps, bro. Like, for real. Like, when you said that, I was like, that's got to be what it is.
Because you know, it's just so wild to take a goal of being Pirate King, but then flip it on. I want to make everybody Pirate King. Like, that's wild. Like, that's just crazy.
And it feels so right, and it feels so Luffy. You know what I mean? And if that does end up being a reveal that we get, we're going to be able to look back at so many Luffy moments and go, this was evidence for this. This was evidence for this. This was evidence for this. All while it's being disguised as a fun-loving, carefree, you know what I'm saying? I just want to be the Pirate King. I'm entirely selfish in my motivations. You know what I mean? Blah, blah, blah. That's totally the way Oda's been painting it. And if it remains that way, Luffy is still Luffy, and it doesn't change anything. But this introduces depth to his character that I didn't think we were going to see. You know what I mean? And that's a big deal for me personally.
This just sentence period, like, that's the end of my little brother's dream. Right? That one sentence gave us this new level of depth to Luffy that we've never seen before. Like, just one sentence, it's all you need. And then you're like, okay, Luffy's had some real fucking giant plan in the back of his mind the entire time since he was 7. You know, like,
which goes into what Nick was saying about how he remembers everyone, but just gives them different nicknames. Like we think he's just this dumb, you know, single-celled organism, essentially, that fucking, like, doesn't, you know, it needs everyone else to tell him how to think, you know what I mean? But no, he knows exactly how to think, and he just lets his people be them, you know what I mean? Like, he always knows exactly what he wants to do, and that would be such a cool reveal to get, that he's, like, really this calculated, brooding, you know, king that has this, you know, ruse of an exterior, you know, that probably has more narrative impact than even we're noticing right now in this analysis. You know what I mean? Like, it's just so crazy to think that Oda had this for him if that's the case. You know what I mean?
I don't even think it needs to be a ruse. Like, I don't.
Yeah.
I think you can be a quirky,
Sure.
goofy motherfucker and
Yes.
still just pay attention. Like, I peep
Right.
everything.
Yeah.
I calculate this shit as I'm going.
The
along.
ruse comes from like us as a reader, right? The ruse is like for us as the audience, not like Luffy's character is not like actually pulling the wool over anyone. Like, he's still being him. Just because we don't know everything about him doesn't mean he's hiding something from us. But but yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, ruse to the reader, not to the characters.
Yeah, good point though. Good point though, Eagle. Absolutely.
Yeah, definitely.
Wow, though. What a thought, Kiko. That's nuts.
Yeah. I hope that goes that way.
Yeah. What else we got? So wait a minute. Okay, I have a question.
Vivre Card.
Right. I want to talk about the Vivre Card because I have a question here because I feel like out of everyone involved, if we really brought it down to raw data, I'm probably the least knowledgeable of One Piece out of all of the panelists here. So I have this question that might sound dumb, but like, is this the like? Well, no, because it didn't really explain how Vivre Cards work. One question I have is, have we gotten like a tried and true exposition on exactly how Vivre Cards are created?
You have to take
just with
nail
fingernails.
clippings. You have to take nail clippings
okay.
But we
fuse them
didn't-
with paper in some fashion that creates the Vivre Card.
Okay.
Right. We don't know how exactly they're made, but I do think that this was confirmation that they're made on Wano. Like, I don't think we knew where they were made.
Yeah, I was going to say, is this evidence that like Vivre Cards come from this part of the world? Is basically what I was going to say.
I think so. I mean, we already got confirmation a while back that like the poneglyphs are from Wano. Like
and now
the
we know that
Wano people are the only
Kairoseki-
people that can make them.
Yeah,
so
now that we
it
know
makes
that.
sense that they have other tech that we don't know of.
It's really cool.
Does Wano make everything?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, it's really cool to find out that like Wano like could be the origin for all of these really cool concepts that we have in One Piece that seemed really mysterious, but it makes sense because it's coming from an isolated part of the world that doesn't want anyone to know what they're doing. You know what I mean? So this is a great central hub for all of, or not all of, but some of those unsolved mysteries in One Piece.
For
It's
sure.
Like, oh, well, Wano just didn't want anyone to know that they were doing it. You know what I mean? Because they're isolationist. You know what I mean? So that would be cool to know that these are the biggest Kairoseki, manipulators or forgers in the world or whatever. So we see new applications of Sea Stone that we haven't seen before, and we find out Wano was hiding that information. Cool. That would, now we know Vivre Cards might come from.
They make Vivre Cards, they make poneglyphs, they make
Poneglyphs,
Kairoseki, they make all the
everything,
weapons. They make all the weapons basically being distributed across the globe. Like, I mean, I don't know if that's actually true, but that's kind of what the picture that's been painted.
Where was
they make
Luffy's
everything over there.
What's up?
Where did they make Luffy's Vivre Card?
Don't remember at all.
Yeah, I don't remember.
Island?
Actually, I have the internet. Where?
Yeah, I
Where'd they make Luffy's Vivre Card? Nope. It's just bringing me straight to the Vivre Card page of Wiki. I'm not reading through all of it. I thought it would.
Sure.
I thought it would give me like the the answer taken from like an article like blown up in the first result. I thought it would be something like that, but no, I'm not going to research it.
No.
But holy shit, though! So the Vivre Card stuff is crazy. Are you guys ready to go into like this epic ass scene, like about like Luffy joining the fucking fight? Because this is fan art come to life. Like this like is literally like people have like, as soon as we got Kaido's introduction chapter, people were drawing this scene. You know what I mean? In headcanon. You know what I mean? It wasn't exactly like this. I think it was just Kid, Law, and Luffy in front of Kaido, and that was the fan art or whatever.
Yeah.
But like, still, we fucking got this shit, and it's better than the fan art was, bro. You know
I
what
like
mean?
that the idea of the supernova is more reinforced here, right? So we got the supernovas back, obviously, Shabandi or whatever, and obviously they've been big players, but they have not been super big. I mean, and then we have all these like separate arcs of the kid's doing his thing, Apu's doing his thing, Beje's doing whatever, and but now we just get reinforced that like even the concept of the supernovas and how impactful they'd be at this period of time was part of the prophecy, right? That a large group of new young, strong pirates are going to go on the scene, and they're going to be the ones that kill Kaido.
Yes.
It's like, damn.
Yes. And I think the scene is so Luffy where he pulls up, doesn't say anything to his, peers. You know what I mean? Pulls up to the battlefield, analyzes it, understands the weight of the moment, sees that Big Mom and Kaido are there talking shit, sees that Kid and Killer and everyone is there ready, stanced up. And what's on Luffy's mind is, where is Kinemon?
Yeah, his
you
friend.
Know what I mean? That is just such a, like, Oda could have handled this in a way where he's like, all right, so this is the summit. I guess we're all, like he could have literally given Luffy any other reaction to showing up here, but he gave him I don't give a fuck
Yeah.
about this scene at all. Where's my homeboy? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Walk right past the two Yonkos talking shit that the other people can't even like walk towards. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And he just says, fuck that. Boom. Walk right past everyone. And Zoro reacts like, all right, that's some Pirate King shit. You know what I mean? Like, he doesn't give, like a smirk or anything, but like just the fact that we have a Zoro reaction panel after Luffy does what he does is just like, I feel like this is Zoro going like, that's my captain, baby. You know what I'm saying? Like, I just love that. I love that.
For sure.
Yeah.
That
Eagle pointed out. I mean, Eagle pointed. I'm just saying, Eagle pointed out. Just earlier in the episode here, the Meruem.
Big Meruem vibes.
Definitely.
Big Meruem vibes.
Yeah, big Meruem
I feel like,
vibes.
and we got a similar scene in like Jujutsu Kaisen recently too. I feel like a lot of people really fuck with that scene. And
That was when the scene you're referencing is when Sukuna was out and he went right past Panda and them.
No, it was when it was like right at the start of like Gojo versus Hanami and Jogo, like right when you got there on the train tracks, and then like he was like, "Hey, Weed, this is the third time you're fighting me. I'm killing you first," and then like literally was just instantly in between Jogo and Hanami, like the next panel. Yeah, you know what I mean. And we talked about how that felt like Meruem and Netro and Zeno. You know what I mean in that moment, and this very much so feels like that too. I don't know if there's a moment from before, Hunter x Hunter that could have potentially inspired this, or if this is just Oda going, I just want this scene, and he didn't think of Togashi at all. I don't know. You know what I mean? But it's just cool to see such an awesome, one of my favorite scenes ever.
I think it's Goku. I think it's Goku behind Nappa to pick Gohan up.
Oh my god.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure it's Goku.
I love that.
It makes so much more
Pretty sure
sense for a
that
Dragon
is the
Ball
inspiration
homage
for
in
all
here.
of these. I think that's the inspiration for all these. But I
Fantastic.
really want to talk about
Great
how
spot.
predominant the Straw Hat has been drawn in this chapter. Like the Straw Hat looks wildly different to me than most chapters, and I think Oda really wanted to hammer home how like predominant it is. Like look at let me see.
This is a good point.
Page 15, right in the middle, where Kaido's about to bash Luffy from behind, right?
Yeah.
That is Roger.
Yeah.
That
Looks so much like
fucking Roger. That fucking is Roger right there. And then even like the last panel, the silhouette on the on 19.
Yes,
right? Like,
bro, that
it's
silhouette. I was
putting
going to
the
bring
hat
that
on.
up. Yes.
But it looks, it just, the Straw Hat has never been drawn so big. I mean, I'm not saying never.
So vividly,
but in the last,
so
in the last
profound.
300 chapters, probably, has never been so profound and predominantly drawn.
Yeah.
And it's just like, I just think it's really just hammering home. I mean, obviously, sure, your Joy Boy and Roger's will being carried on, and both had the Straw Hat, presumably Joy Boy too, with the giant one that Emu has.
Right.
But yeah, it's just like everything that I've been saying as far as like this is the next step. Like we need to make sure the Straw Hat is and what's the name of the chapter? Straw Hat.
Luffy.
Yeah. Oh. I love that. To go back
I didn't even notice that. That is such a cool thing to point out. Now that I'm going through the chapter, every single
look at it.
page, every single
Every
panel,
time.
the Straw Hat is in.
Yep.
Yeah,
It
14,
looks-
15. Yeah.
every single fucking panel that the Straw Hat is in.
13,
this
12,
chapter
13. Look at 12, 13. Every
is
single
very
one.
Yep.
pronounced.
Yep.
It's very
Yep.
in your
It
face.
seemed like for a
Yes.
long time, the Straw Hat, like the brim around it has been worn. And I
Yeah.
always kind of just chalked it up to the fact it's like, man, you're fighting this motherfucker all the time. Of course, it's going to take some battle damage, right? And then it's like, okay, that's just Oda's style right now. He's just not going to give a
No,
shit. And
this-
obviously,
this Straw Hat has been
on
intact.
chapter 11.
Yeah,
exactly.
it's
On
been
chapter,
perfect.
So
on
weird,
chapter
like-
1000, we're
Yeah.
going to make sure
You see this hat.
you still see the fact that the Straw Hat is fully intact. Like
Yeah.
this
The
is
proportions of it are just so
physical
weird.
representation of the will. Right?
Yeah.
Like it's just
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the proportions, yes, Eagle, the proportions are
Like if you
definitely
go
very weird.
on page 12, the top right panel and the bottom left panel, just look at those two panels.
Yeah.
The difference in the fucking hat.
Yeah, and then look at it on page 13 in the middle when he's holding Kanemon. It's just it's the muffin, just like a huge exaggerated muffin top. And then even like in the bottom left of like page 15, like it's just like really pronounced. Like you really need to see this hat in all of its detail and glory.
Yep.
That is such a cool thing to point out, dude.
Yeah. In the scene,
it wasn't an accident. Again,
Yeah.
this is all fate.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Right, for sure,
No,
for sure.
Yeah. Playing off Rayleigh.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah.
This scene though, for 12, 13, 14, 15 with Luffy and Kinemon, that was the huge moment for me in this chapter. Like I legit cried at this scene. Like it's just so powerful, right? Like Kinemon, ooh.
And people complain that this is the same plot of every One Piece arc. Luffy goes to some island he's never heard of before, meets the people, sees that they're fucked up, and then saves them. And it's like, how could you not want to do that? Like, look at this scene right here. He holds him in his arms. He says, like, yo, I have nothing to show Oden when I meet him after my death, but shame.
my shame.
And then you get a flashback of all of the reasons why you're here doing what you're doing in the moment. Sure, if you take away all the context, you can say Luffy goes to island and saves
helps people.
random people he doesn't know every arc and use that as a criticism. But you look like an idiot. Like read
when you
the
have
fucking
multiple
story.
arcs
Sorry,
building up,
like,
and-
It is not that simple. Like, I'm sorry. Like, look at this. This is coming from fucking Zoe, dude. This is coming from Punk Hazard.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
And you have even like the recap of what everybody has gone through. You got Yasui on here crucified. Like
Yes.
it's like there's so many other smaller moments that encompass the whole entire thing. And I'm sorry if the theme of this entire fucking story is freedom, and Luffy is running around liberating people and making them
That's
free
the
because
kind of
everybody's
fucking person that he is.
and you're seeing all these different types of slavery. Sure, you don't have to be physically enslaved in shackles, but you can be enslaved in another way.
Yeah.
And he's saving everybody. It's like. Sorry, that's the theme of the story.
And it's like,
then-
why does Luffy have to be the one to come save everyone every time? And it's like, because that's where he is at the moment. The story is focusing on Luffy in this moment, so obviously it's going to show him do
What
that
do they call
thing.
it? Like the major character, the primary character? I don't know, the main character.
But think about it though.
yeah,
Think
yeah.
about it. Think about a couple things here. Think about all of the areas that Luffy is not at, that he's not saving. He is only saving this, like, he doesn't save everyone, and he says that I'm not going to save everyone. I'm not a superhero. If you are in trouble when I just so happen to sail by, I'll probably save you because I like you guys. I met you. I hung out with you. You fed me. We did things together. And now here's this flashback double spread on page 16 and 17 reminding you why Luffy is here liberating them right now. He is the only one who can because he's the strongest one around at the moment. That this is his story. But you can take that criticism and you can go, but he doesn't save everyone because he's not at another island right now that's under you know, whatever Iron Fist rule that it's under, that Luffy just can't help because he's not there. But also, there are things going on in One Piece that don't have anything to do with Luffy. There are other people, just based off of news coup chapters that we've got that tell us other things that happen in the world. We know there's someone kind of like Luffy going around kind of doing the same thing as Luffy, but he's not the Pirate King. You know what I mean? Like, other people have his outlook that are going to different islands and probably liberating them. We just don't hear about it because this is Luffy's fucking story.
Two major examples. The fleet, like Luffy literally has a fleet from Dressrosa, and they said like, all right, well, we're gonna go out and do shit, right? Like we're not gonna, you don't want us to follow you, so we're just gonna be your fleet. The fleet is probably out there, helping people or whatever.
They probably have adopted
everybody.
his ideals, and they're going being Luffy in other areas that the story isn't focusing on. It's not just Luffy doing all of these things. Yes, Luffy is going to be at the epicenter of conflict resolution in his fucking story. Sorry.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, what?
Another example we talked about earlier, the Revolutionary Army, right? Like, they're out there liberating people too. But what I was going to say about how this scene is still fresh and unique in its own way is that here's like what Kinemon asks, right? Will you put Wano on your back?
Yes.
You know what I mean? Like in Fishman Island, like, I don't think people were like, please, could take over Fishman Island, right? He's just like, Fishman Island's mine now. This is someone begging him, please, will you be the Yonko of Wano? You know what I mean? Like, will you take it on your back? And he's like, yeah. It's like, so they're all fresh in their own way. You know what I mean?
Yeah, definitely. And it's like, when you ask why would Luffy be at the epicenter of like conflict and like resolution throughout the story, that's like about the dumbest question you could ever ask. Like, why is Naruto like a reincarnation of a god? Why is fucking Ichigo fucking Shinigami, a fucking Vizard, a Fullbring, a Quincy? Like,
because it's their fucking story, man.
Exactly, and the main character is supposed to obviously.
And you don't have to like it. You don't have to like it. You can have all the complaints you want, but don't act like it doesn't make sense.
Right.
But out of those three, it's like, which one sounds the most ridiculous, right? Or which one sounds the least ridiculous? I'm sorry. The guy who's just trying to like live his dream, and obviously they are all living their dream, I guess. But like, he's just going through and doing what he believes is right all the way down the way, you know. And it's just like, that's shonen. What do you want? You know, like I mean, this is just this is peak shonen. Like, this is how it is. Yeah,
right.
This is how this goes. Like, it's crazy.
Red Rock,
that
though,
recap,
huh? Red Rock, though.
Red Rock.
So this is something.
Red Hawk.
See, right
Woo!
now, this is something. It's like, how did I? Now, I'm sure other people have thought about this possibility before. Oh yeah, elephant gun with fire on it. Duh, you know what I mean? Like, any combination of moves that we've seen are possible inside of Luffy's kit because he's just that versatile. So, but then it's always hype when I see a new Luffy attack, and then I think about it in retrospect. I'm like, duh, but you don't think about it until you see it. Because Oda does that. God, by and large, I'm sure someone has predicted it, but by and large, you don't.
Yeah, but even more so than what the attack actually was, it shows Oda's like deep level of planning. Like Red Hawk, Red Rock. Rock is a fucking the legendary giant bird of prey, way fucking bigger than a hawk from fucking like Middle Eastern, you know, theology or whatever.
Yes.
Like, it's obviously Oda knew about Red Rock when he made Red Hawk.
Yeah,
like,
probably. Yeah, absolutely.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly, and it's just like, I mean, you look back to like on it's like Rock's feather from Zelda, right? Like I don't know, just like it brings me back through like my and me and Nick and Eagle disc a lot. A Rock 3 is a very, very popular disc. A Rock in general was just a regular disc, and it evolved to Rock 3 over 25 years, and that's how great of a disc it is. It's been around for 25 years and has evolved. Like it's like there's so many, you know, like obviously you use this mythology. This is what Oda does best, right? Like he just brings all these different mythologies from all over the fucking planet and just meshes them in so well together.
To make his own mythology, like, his own pantheon.
Exactly.
Woo, boy.
Well, and I'm noticing only now that this was a jet attack too. This gear third was a jet attack. That's something that we don't see. I don't know if we have seen that.
Yeah. That's something that I definitely did not notice at first, but you are absolutely
Gear
right.
5? Question mark? No.
And you want to know what? We thought that Gear 4 was going to be a combination, you know what I mean? But I think that Oda is telling us that all of the gears are going to be wholly different and separate from each other in some way. Yeah. But this is cool to see a Giganto jet.
Yeah, because there's no fist on this panel of
it's just
the double
impact.
spread on,
it's just
on
the impact.
The
impact illustration
the
that he
double
uses for
like
Gear
speed
2nd.
animation too.
Yep.
Woo,
boy. And I love
the
this chapter goes out on, you know, the famous quote that he always says, but for some reason, I just love the way that that Kaido and Big Mom set him up for this moment. You know what I'm saying? Because it's like you see him here, and you're like, why don't you go ahead and say your thing?
Say it to my face.
Yeah, say it to my face because the scene needs to be like that. Will wrap this scene up with a bow. Is a pirate king declaration. So why don't you give it to us, Luffy? You know what I'm saying? Like they just rolled the red carpet out for him and said, you got it, bro. I feel like that's kind of meta. I think that's meta as fuck to me from Oda saying, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, this might not have like made the most sense, like dialogue wise. Like does Kaido really say that here? I mean, obviously he does, but at the same time, it just feels like it was Oda rolling the red carpet out for this for the end of this scene. Yeah.
And just the fact that like their reactions, like Kaido's face when he gets hit, when the impact comes in and he's like, like, oh shit, this actually, I'm feeling this.
Yeah.
And then afterwards, Big Mom, she's like, oh shit.
Yeah.
She's like, why'd you let him hit you like that?
Yeah.
What the fuck? She did not expect this shit. And then
that reminds me
panels before the silhouette panel of their faces, shocked at like how he actually just hurt Kaido.
Yeah.
You know, they're like, oh fuck.
Yeah.
And then,
so there's Ryuo in there. There's Ryuo in there.
There's Ryuo. That's what I was gonna say. It's not just Gear 3rd like giant. It's not just Jet. It's also Ryuo. You know what I mean? Like, damn.
Yeah.
Boy.
And I love the conversation between Big Mom and Kaido before, you know, he after images behind them because he's like, can you believe what this fucking kid said to me the other day before I smashed his ass into the ground?
Yeah.
He told me, you know, say that shit again. And then like Big Mom's like, yeah. That's a cheeky little brat. I can't wait till I bash his ass in too. Like they're both like hyped up and they're so like confident and they're just like, when you get an after image behind you, you know, you gotta think about things, right?
Some things. Yeah. Like, wait a minute.
And you're like, and that raises a big question. Did Luffy get a speed increase on top with the Ryuo give him a fucking speed increase too? Because
he
it's
seems
like,
faster.
He does.
Seems faster. It feels like everybody's surprised at his speed. And like what you were saying with the Zoro panel, you know, Zoro just has an ellipses there, but it's like, you know, he could be like, damn, like
Yeah.
I thought I had a speed increase ready for this, and
Yeah.
you know,
Just the fact that we're showing Luffy like teleport without the Soru illustration.
Yeah.
I don't even know if it
is
was
a big
though.
deal. Well, sure, but I mean,
I
like,
think just judging by the tech,
Yeah.
I think he started just walking towards him casually. They're talking shit like, "Oh yeah, re-d-d," and then before they know it, like he literally just walked right in between them, and they were just like busy talking shit, and then realized that like, huh,
yeah.
fuck,
Yeah, but I mean, like,
I think it's more of a speed thing,
Big
and that
Mom-
he jet past
Yeah.
them and then started
And then
walking
slowed
regularly.
down.
Yeah,
I think
yeah.
it very well could be just walking by, but
Yeah.
I don't think it is, because say just the panel immediately before,
Mm-hmm.
Big Mom says, "You owe me an apology for that Straw Hat." Like,
Yeah.
if she's saying you, she must be looking at him, right?
Right.
And why would they let
Yeah.
him just walk right by? And
Right.
there wasn't any. I mean, yes, you can just say like we just skip those panels or whatever, and
Yes.
he walked right by. But
Yeah.
if you do think he walked right by, I think you almost have to say he has some sort of reverse hockey, like suppress hockey, and be
Yeah.
completely invisible. And
Zetsu.
Zetsu, like a
Zetsu,
hockey
yeah.
Zetsu. But I think more it's just like.
Yeah,
you know
I
what
think
mean?
that this scene will be adapted in the anime the exact same way as it's shown in the manga here. He's going to be
And-
right here, and all of a sudden he's going to be right here. There's not going to be no slow walk up. They could totally, if that is what's happening here, the anime will definitely show the slow walk up. But I
have
think
another-
that this is a teleport. Yeah.
Another hint here
Yeah.
on that panel, bottom left or bottom right panel of page 12.
Mm-hmm.
There are surprise tick marks for
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Big Mom and Kaido. They are surprised that he is now behind.
Yeah,
them.
that's right.
Yep.
Facts. Super facts.
Yeah.
Cool
I mean,
thought, though.
and the question mark, exclamation point there
and
too,
then
I guess.
Yeah.
When you see an after image like this, you know, you could easily just say he walked right through him. But I always just think it's so more bad if he like went around them and still, like,
Sure,
I don't know
sure.
why, just because it's so much faster. It's such of a faster motion. It's like, like I don't know. I've always liked how those like after images were animated. You know, whenever you do get them animated, is one coming from the side. But I mean, it looks like he just walks between them.
Yeah.
But like, if he just walks between them, Luffy's 1v2 in them.
If it's a slow walk, yes, I'm with you.
If it's a slow walk, they just let him do it. If it's a fast walk, Luffy's 1v2 in him. He just walked right past both of y'all, like, or whatever. Soru passed both, and you guys didn't know when he was right next to both of you.
Yeah.
Like, that's so obviously it's One Piece, like we've been saying, and like you
that's
can't
the
just
theater
like
of the
power
scene.
scale.
Yeah,
Exactly. You can't just power scale off of something like this, because if this was fucking Naruto, you'd say, yeah, Luffy's clearly stronger than both of them. They can't see him move, right? Like that's that. That's the end of the day.
Speed is
That's all
everything
it
in
is.
Naruto's world.
Yeah. Exactly. So like you gotta, you know, take that with a grain of salt. But it's just like I just always love to like imagine,
How
you
the
know,
scene
how that
goes,
plays.
yeah.
And I just, you know, I want him to go around. I don't know. It's faster. It's more area to cover. It's more
Yes, in a
impressive.
shorter
Like,
amount of
I like
time.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
Well,
don't know, I mean-
and you that they don't understand they don't comprehend what happened. They don't know if he walked between them or he went around them. Like I was like that too. Like you know.
So I'm
Yeah,
thinking
go ahead,
it'll honestly probably shake down to be like Luffy and Zoro versus Kaido, and then the rest of them versus Big Mom.
That'd be sick.
I don't know.
Or it
I've
could just
said
be
before-
a
I've said
big
before-
battle royale where opponents are constantly switching.
Yeah, that would be
throughout.
cool too.
That'd be super sick.
Yeah.
I've said before that Big Mom versus Luffy, right? Like, you know, she has the biggest beef with Luffy in particular.
Yes, correct.
Everyone else, I mean, like,
And
Kaido doesn't
Kid
care what
has the
anyone
biggest
says.
beef with Kaido. Kid and
Yeah.
Kaido have a bigger beef. Like that's
Sure,
I mean,
sure.
Yeah.
Sure.
So I can
it
see
feels like
Kid doing
Kid
his
should lead
thing
that.
to like fulfill his role as the one who has the biggest beef with Kaido, but obviously since he's not Luffy or a part of the Straw Hat crew, he definitely
Zoro got a
plays-
big ass beef with Kaido for no reason though.
right.
I don't
hold
even
on.
know why. My
we'll-
man's is pissed.
We'll address that in a moment. But yes, it is like I was saying though. Kid tries his best and fulfills his narrative purpose as, you know, an opponent of Kaido's, a direct opponent of Kaido's that we take seriously as, you know, his motivations are to beat Kaido. This is Kid's whole thing right now. You know what I mean? But since he's not Luffy or the Straw Hat crew, he doesn't succeed in actually like finishing that. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
but he still does everything his character needs to before the Straw Hats finish the punchline. You know what I mean? So I could totally see Kid doing his thing, getting scraped, Zoro finishing that off. You know what I mean?
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Free for all will be tight too.
Yeah.
for
Free
sure.
for all would
Yeah.
definitely be sick. But wow, guys.
Man.
Is that it?
Yeah, I think that probably is it, man.
That's it?
Yeah.
That's all I had for 1,000 anyway.
I think, But I love how you had the idea of having like a nostalgic conversation at the front too.
Yeah,
You know
yeah.
what I mean,
Yeah.
so that it can
That was
actually
fun.
feel, because if it was just raw chapter 1,000, review, that would be fine, I'm sure. But it feels a lot better to pay respect
Need
to
more
chapter
homage
1,000 by having
Yes.
a bigger conversation outside of chapter 1,000 as well. So that was brilliant, Eagle. Fuck yeah, glad to have you here for the convo, bro.
Glad to be back in this bitch.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, G.
Oh yeah. G. Yes.
I didn't even do that a single time the whole show. Well, shit, man. I think that'll probably do it.
Yeah, dude.
Well, with all that said, this was our special appreciation episode for chapter 1,000 of One Piece.
Yeah. You want to know what? You want to know what I'm going to do? I'm going to put the link for our special One Piece appreciation tie-in episode in the description for this episode.
Hell yeah.
That'll be a cool thing for people to peep.
So go ahead and check that out if you haven't, because that's a lit-ass episode.
Yes.
Where we just gush, similar to what we did here, but like less, focused on even the current events. We just kind of gush all over One Piece.
The whole story. Yeah.
So yeah, thank you all so much for watching. If you did, be sure to smack that like button if you enjoyed this episode. Make sure you smack that subscribe button if you are new to the show and enjoying it so far.
Yes.
Like we said at the front, check the description box out down below where you can find links to, online communities. Follow us on Twitter. Check out the Discord community. You can find audio platforms to consume the podcast on, as well as support us through our online store and our Patreon. And with those words said, yeah, this will be us signing off. I'm your host, Iguru Oyaji.
Peace, my Nakama. It's Straw Hat Kiko out here. What's good?
Yes.
Peace, y'all.
And I will go back to my quarters in the 7.5 floor of Impel Down that y'all don't even know about.
Creating floors here.
It's the underboss. Big Knox, baby. I'll see y'all.
And long-haired Sabo. Peace, y'all.
Sarabada.